Okay, here we're into an episode of On Point EDC. Today, I have a really cool review for you from the brand RZE. A little about them. They're a micro brand watchmaker focusing on outdoor adventure-based models with a signature angular aesthetic, and have since expanded into the pocket knife market from making watches, which is why you see a watch laid out here. Now, a little bit about this type of product and tool. Of course, I'd consider this an EDC folding utility knife. Some key common characteristics in design language. When you're generally looking for something that you can carry around every day, of course, you're going to want a pocketable size as well as a versatile blade shape. This is their HexEdge TI for titanium, and it's RZE's first microblade built to be capable, tough, and ultimately pocketable for your everyday carry. It is essentially a micro flipper titanium frame lock. These will go for just $59 via Kickstarter for super early bird backers, and then later on be transitioned to $68 for early birds, and then from there on, I'm sure it'll eventually get to a full price, which has yet to be determined as far as I've seen from the press material. Now, this should be coming to Kickstarter right around the end of December 2023 as I'm recording this, with a current estimated ship date of around February 2024. So not too bad of a turnaround in terms of, committing any dollars to pre-orders. Some key characteristics in terms of some of the actual specs here. You're going to see D2 tool steel that does have a really cool titanium coating on top of it. You're going to see, of course, a nice clip point blade, flat ground, sharp, pretty sharp out of box, and then the handle, which is a titanium frame lock, is made out of grade 5 titanium, and it even has a built-in pry tool worked in there to the lanyard opening, which I think is cool. And they even have some nice orange anodized pivot collars, and then of course the pivot itself is actually running on ball bearings, so in terms of those washers, it'd be very nice and smooth. So with all that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. All right, guys, so my channel is mainly a watch channel, so to get the customary wristwatch check out of the way, guys, of course I do have this really nice RZE Resolute in the carbon fiber dial, and I have it on this cool Montreux super thin, super comfortable FKM rubber strap, and I thought the orange just kind of matched with the orange in terms of the pivot collar. Of course, you have the titanium matching the titanium, and in that adventurous spirit, as well as seeing a lot of family resemblance in terms of the case contours, all the angles, the more modern look, yet still being quite compact in terms of the watch itself. It's not super oversized, it's nice and svelte, and nicely put together, and you can see really well appointed. You have a nice deep carry pocket clip that does loop over here, which is nice, and those screws don't stick out too much, so that's not going to give you a lot of friction in terms of drawing in and out. Another nice thing is also you can see it's very small, and you're not seeing a stainless steel lock face insert there, and I'm thinking the reason why there's actually no blade stick is because of this titanium coating that they do have on the blade, so there won't be any hardened steel on contact there with the titanium lock face. At least as far as I can tell, there's no insert on there. It does have a little micro ball bearing, which I don't think is going to be able to be seen in terms of the detent there. So really nicely executed. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of looking for that in terms of lock stick, and it was pleasantly surprising to not have any, even at this really small size. You guys could see nice and tidy, guys. D2 tool steel, which is really nice, and then of course with that coating, it's going to help with corrosion resistance. But the nice thing about D2 steel is that it's going to be very tough, in terms of cutting tasks. Nice and sharp out of box, guys. Check that out. Nicely finished, not rough or anything like that. And this is a pre-production prototype, so I'm sure the production units will be even better. Even if you look at the tip here, let's see if I can get it to focus. Maybe not. There we go. Look at that. Nice and symmetrical. Really well done. You can see nicely finished edges here. Nothing can be sharp that isn't supposed to be sharp. Nice functional jimping here as well for when it is in hand. You can get, of course, a bit of a 2-finger grip there, or even 2 maybe 3 fingers if you do want to choke up really close for, precision cutting. So really nice. It does also have this nice integrated pry tool here, which can be used as, of course, a little loop for a lanyard if you're going to put this in your pocket and need some little extra length in terms of drawing it in and out for ease. It's nice that you can have that there, and if you don't use it, I think aesthetically it looks pretty cool, right? Also, it helps cut down the weight, right? You're shedding some extra ounces, and then yeah, and then you got a little pry tool here, so which is nice because sometimes you do feel compelled to maybe use your blade side to pry things open. It's nice to not even have that as a worry. And then I think ergonomically it actually is pretty nice, right? So if you need to pop open a little paint can or something like that, you do have something else you can stick in there that's not going to mess with any type of alignment or anything like that in terms of keeping your blade straight and true. And that flipper action is just great, guys. I mean, it's addictive. So this is going to be very, very fidget friendly. And if you want to open it other ways, of course, thanks to that hole opening, you can do a slow roll, right? If you don't want to alarm anybody, right? If you're at a kid's birthday party, you need to cut a balloon string or something like that. You're not going to scare anyone away like you might if you were to just flip it open rapidly, right? You could also, of course, grasp and then do the little drop. There you go. If you want to be real fancy with it, we'll do that again just for the satisfaction of it. So very nice. Boom. So nice sizing, nice layout, guys. I do like the lines on this one. It is very pocketable. You could put this in the 5th pocket in your jeans. It's also known as the pocket watch pocket, which is kind of cool because they come from watches in terms of their branding. Now, you do have, of course, these nice orange anodized pivot collars. I would assume that those are aluminum. It's not specified what material that they're using, but I would say the cheapest thing would be aluminum, and it would be absolutely fine just because they're just extra collars there, more so for looks. It's not going to serve really any functional thing. That's more of an aesthetic, and I think it's a nice aesthetic touch that adds a nice pop of color, again going back to kind of that adventurous orange there. So very cool. Now, in terms of the overall dimensions, totally here, what I measured with my calipers, I got this to about 4.33 inches, fully extended. Blade length at about 1.8 inches. Closed length here for just the handle is going to be about 2.68 inches. And then in terms of the weight, only 2.18 ounces there. So not too heavy, but it still feels nice and substantial. And again, it's just pretty versatile, especially, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be doing any other types of grips on here just because it is kind of small, but in a pinch, again, the best knife that you have is going to be the one that's on your person. And if you absolutely have no reason not to carry this. I mean, it's just because of the size, it's going to be very versatile. It's not taking up a lot of pocket real estate. It's not adding a lot of weight to your loadout either. So I just think that is pretty nice, right? So in hand, the ergonomics, I think they're great. Smaller, again, you can get the 2-finger grip or possibly a 3-finger if you do want to choke up. Nice placement of the jimping there. I think they probably could even add a jimping down here. If you really wanted to kind of protect, that forward finger from getting, anything in terms of slippage and then hitting on to that, that primary or secondary bevel there. But you can see it still holds really nice. If you want to get to like a little EDC chop there, little push cuts, I think this is going to be really perfect for, and then with its blade shape, it's not like it's a super high grind or anything on there. So, the nice thing is it doesn't have a really thick blade stock, so it'll still be relatively slicey, if you do want to do any type of fruit paring or anything like that. slicing up an apple to eat, this will be absolutely fine. And then again, you do have that extra protection in terms of that coating, you know, so once you rinse it off and everything, you don't have to worry about corrosion as much as you might if it was an uncoated D2 steel blade. Now, the action is very smooth, guys, very fast in terms of its opening and closing. Of course, it's very small, so it's not like I can shake shut it, right? There's not a lot of weight to the blade, so you're not going to get that kind of satisfaction in terms of the close. But I will say on the ball bearings, it is very smooth and very consistent. So very snappy, and a lot of that has to do with those pivot bearings being ball bearings. It's going to be nice and smooth there. It does add a little bit of extra complexity if you're breaking this down and cleaning it and everything, but you know, overall I think we can agree that it is a modern nicety that it is worth it. Certain knives, of course, you want that, you know, very hydraulic glass like action, then you're going to be looking for phosphor bronze washers. But here you're getting something that you want to be quite snappy, and you want to make sure that it's going to deploy every time. There's less chance of misfire, especially at this shorter size, where you really have to be very, very deliberate in terms of the geometry that you're going to use on the flipper, which does have some nice functional jipping there for your hand. So make sure you don't slip or miss anything from that perspective. And it's actually kind of nice that it's not super fast on close, just because it's so small. I could easily see, you know, you can bunch things up, and then you know, you wouldn't want to get any hand meat in the way of that blade path on the close. So it probably is a little bit better that it's not super drop shutty or anything like that. And again, that would be harder to accomplish with such a pocketable, really short blade here. So let's see what else. The flipper geometry, like I mentioned, is nice with the functional jimping. There's no lock stick, which is great, and I'm sure that it either has to do with the blade coating. Maybe they carburized the frame lock. I don't think they would have. If they did, they probably would have used it within their marketing materials. But I will say that, yeah, there's no lock stick, which is really nice. So you just scoot that lock bar over. It's very smooth, nice transition. So really good, well thought out. In pocket, guys, of course, it's going to lay very flat, be quite unobtrusive. Nice deep carry pocket clip. So this is going to really be able to just disappear if you do put it in that, again, that fifth pocket, that pocket watch pocket. It's going to be great, nice and tucked away. Or if you put it in your main pant pocket, that'll work too. Or you know, of course, if you have any type of EDC pouch or anything like that, this is going to be a nice secondary or tertiary blade. Maybe not the primary one you're going to carry. If you're going to be, you know, really into everyday carry in EDC, you probably do have something that's going to be more of a small size or a full size folder that you carry. But this is amazing as a backup. Or if you're not into knives a lot and you don't carry a lot, then this is something that could probably be a great little starter for you, and a little bit of a gateway drug in it to you know, carrying around some premium man candy, some pocket candy there, with something that is just a lot of fun to look at and really easy to appreciate in terms of the build quality there. So model variants, definitely check the site links for options and availability. Again, this is pretty new, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be the only configuration so far, and really anything in terms of bundling, it would just be buying multiples of something like this, maybe for your little crew you got going, or if you have a team or something like that, something commemorative, you know, even good for stuff like you know, groomsmen or something like that, right? It would be pretty cool to all have a similar pocket knife, and something that you know is short enough and compact enough to where you're not going to be worried about you know, a lot of legalese or legalities around carrying it. So for me, guys, this thing's pretty awesome. Comparable options, you know, I'm typically not too into micro carry. I'm more of kind of more mini EDC, or you know, kind of that medium, and even getting into some full size stuff depending on the style and everything. But this one was just kind of too cool to pass up taking a look at. Big shout out to the team at RZE for sending it over for me to share with you guys prior to the launch. Hopefully that'll mean that some of you might be able to secure yourself one at a nice you know, discounted price before these go fully live. So for me, guys, bottom line, a great balance and form you know, kind of the balance between form and function. And then, you know, it's a fully modern, very affordable package that I find quite compelling, and it's not super expensive. You know, $59 or $68, whatever price point you get in, or maybe you see this video a couple of years later and they're at full price, and maybe they're closer to $100 by then. But I think even with some extra inflation, this thing is just, you know, it still offers a lot of tangible value for your everyday carry. So with that said, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please do a like, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.